So strategic asset allocation, a lot of numbers here, but let me try and just, summarize this. Like I mentioned, we start with the premise that this investor is not getting advice, and therefore he's putting money the way RBI statistics are showing. Now, what the RBI statistics show is that this unadvised household with different levels of tax, I've consciously not taken the 30% tax. So we've tried to keep assumptions very, very conservative so that people don't look at this number, ye number badaya tune because you took aggressive assumptions. So we've consciously taken very moderate assumptions so that when we talk about a 4.95, then the focus goes on wow, rather than let's point a gun and say, nahi, ye 4.95 galat hai, isme ye hai, usme wo, then the whole conversation goes out. So we've taken only 10% tax, 20% tax. That's the kind of return that the average Indian saver has got in the last 10 years, CAGR. If he had opted for a conservative allocation, 20% equity, 80% debt, then that's the number that he would have got. And therefore, there's an advisor alpha. Obviously, in mutual funds, we are assuming that you're sensible enough to invest in such a way that you get all the tax breaks that you should be given, and these are all long-term investments. And therefore, you find that there is no change in the pre-tax, post-tax. A moderate asset allocation, which is 40% equity, 60% debt, those are the numbers. A simple average of all the 6 numbers comes to 3.09. Our premise is that a representative mutual fund investor who all intermediaries should be targeting, let's say is an investor who has 5 lakh rupee taxable income, at least, and therefore is at a 20% tax break on a marginal tax basis, and who has a moderate risk profile, because the fact is that most of us ideally should have that kind of a risk profile. There will be a few exceptions where you genuinely want to say, look, you don't have that risk capacity or the profile, but if I have the risk capacity, it's your job to move my risk profile to align with my risk capacity. So if that be the case, then the advisor alpha for the representative target investor is 4.18%. So the point is, out of that 4.95 number that we talked about, the biggest value that you can add is simply sit down with the customer, understand risk profile, put his money into equity and debt as appropriate, and put that into mutual funds as appropriate. And the returns for the mutual funds is the CRISIL AMFI index. So we have not taken any fund selection alpha here. It's just the CRISIL AMFI index returns of debt and equity funds. So if you threw a dart and you got an average return in a debt fund, then you would have got this you would have generated this alpha. This is without an iota of fund selection guidance from you. That's the kind of value that you add by desisting from a product push approach and embracing a suitability oriented approach.